I want to go straight now to Democratic Congressman Dean Phillips, who sits on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, I appreciate your time. So what happened in that meeting today with Speaker Pelosi? You were there.
I was there, and the Speaker, as you just reported, made this an official inquiry, and that's the news of the day. Many of us, in light of the news from this last weekend, recognize the egregious behavior of this president has got to be addressed, and I'm a believer in process. Most of us in this caucus are like-minded, and today we made that official, and I think it was an important step. It is a somber day for America, but an important one for the Constitution and for the rule of law.
Do you have any sense of what changes from here, though? Obviously, your committee, one of those investigating. We understand the Speaker said things will move swiftly. So do you have any sense of a timeline and what happens now?
Well, I think I speak for most of us in our caucus that we should do this expeditiously and proficiently, and my hope is we do so quickly, and focusing specifically on this allegation, which the president himself has essentially admitted to, engaging in a conversation with the leader of a foreign nation to interfere in our democracy, and that is behavior that cannot stand. And I think this makes something official that had been less than that beforehand. But I'm very clear about this specific allegation. We should be focused on that, and I hope we do so very quickly.
And you're obviously drawing, it sounds like a clear thing that you want to focus on this. You're not talking about Mueller or anything which others do care about, I presume. I want to ask you, the Speaker today, when she announces an official impeachment inquiry, your statement yesterday, Congressman, said, if the reports are corroborated, we must pursue articles of impeachment. So is there daylight between you and the Speaker at this time?
Well, I can't speak to her position specifically, Erin, but my statement was very clear. You know, there are two issues right now. One is the president engaging in this conversation that he's admitted to. The other is obstruction. The Director of National Intelligence has an obligation, a legal obligation, to forward that whistleblower's report to our Congress within 7 days. That has not been done. That is a clear violation of law. And in my estimation, there could be two articles of impeachment, both obstruction and engaging in this conversation with a foreign leader. Those are the two issues.
And again, you're making it about Ukraine. I want to be clear, the reason I keep making this point, and you are new to this, this point of view, right, as of yesterday. You were elected to the House in 2018. Congressman, you defeated a Republican incumbent. You flipped a red district. In fact, you're the first Democrat to hold your seat, I believe, in your district since 1961.
That's
okay,
correct.
So what is it about this that makes you feel, your constituents, that this is now the time to get on board? That Mueller was not, but this is different. What is it about this that makes it so different that gets you on board?
Well, from the day I was sworn into office and took the oath of office into the Constitution, I believe in process. And I believe the allegations, so many of the allegations that exist right now relative to this president, we've been conducting our investigations in a way that's appropriate, principled, process-driven. I think those should continue. But what we discovered this past weekend was egregious and to me, a line in the sand that cannot be crossed. And it's cut and dry, it's black and white. And to anybody in this country, members of Congress, every citizen who believes in the rule of law, and who reveres the Constitution, I think will be like-minded, in my estimation, relative to this specific allegation. That is what has changed, and I think it's quite distinct.
Okay, so when you say in black and white, I'm just using those words that we're going to get this transcript tomorrow, according to the president. What he said today, in part, in a tweet, he calls us a witch hunt, Congressman Phillips, and he says, of you Democrats, they never even saw the transcript of the call. Now, do you know what we're going to see tomorrow? Is it going to be an actual transcript? Do you know if they're tapes? Or is this possibly just going to be someone's summary of what happened, which, by the way, could leave plenty of room for him to say his cover and you all to say we know what really happened, but the American people to not be sure?
Erin, I have no idea what's coming tomorrow. What I do know is two things: that the president has admitted to engaging in this conversation in which he discussed with the president of Ukraine investigating an American citizen who happens to be a political adversary of the president himself. That much we know. What else we know is that the Director of National Intelligence had a legal obligation to forward this whistleblower's report to us. It has not been done. Those things are absolute. Whether or not there's a quid pro quo that exists might be incidental to this whole issue. And I think we got to make that clear. What the president has admitted to already, in my estimation, is impeachable.
Okay, so I think that is important. I want to underscore that. What he's admitted to already, which is corruption was his reason. He says this, and as for withholding the aid, right? He then said he also wanted Joe Biden to be investigated. In your view, that's enough? You do not need a quid pro quo where he specifically says it is for, I'm going to hold up the military aid. Although, of course, the timing does line up with that. But if you don't have it on paper, it doesn't matter to you.
Yeah, like I said, Erin, we need corroborating evidence relative to the president's conversation, but whether or not there's a quid pro quo attached, I think is incidental. When the president of the United States of America should know that when he or she engages in conversations with foreign leaders, that almost implicitly there's a quid pro quo when you express a desire for anything to be done. The president should know that. This is where the line has got to be drawn. And this is also an inflection point for the whole country, Erin. I'm a father of 2 daughters. Many Americans are parents and grandparents. We've got to make a decision about what we will tolerate in this country and what will we allow the president and what kind of behavior we allow. In this case, it is so clear, and we have to depoliticize something and come together on the rule of law and the Constitution. In this case, what the president has admitted to is something so egregious that we cannot turn our eye to it. And I hope my fellow members see it the same way. I trust they will.
Congressman Phillips, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Erin.